Hello everyone. If you want to go to my free course, type henry-ward.co.uk into Google, then go to Henry Ward Trading, and then this here is my free course. Click on Start Today. If you want to go on to the webinars that I do every Sunday and every Wednesday, click on Trading Academy and then click on Start Today. So this is the Trading Academy. This is the full training, the webinars, direct access to me, everything that you want. Hello everyone, how are you? And today we're going to go through our trade that we're looking to take on EURJPY. So EURJPY is something that we were looking at taking in this sort of position. So we have the overall trend coming down and we have the momentum going down. So we have a phase 1, phase 2, phase 1, phase 2. Now we have a little horizontal level here. So it hit its head once, came down, broke through, and then hit a second time here and then bounced up. That's 2 bounces. So it went up, came back down, and hit this floor again and rejected. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 touches on that particular one. And then since then, we've had a broke through, and then at this particular point, we have 2 high test bars right there. Now, if we look at this, we have this green high test bar, and then we have this red one. Okay, so I'll make it nice and big so you guys can all sort of see it. Now, entry is slightly below that bar. And then stop loss, we have a few pips above it as well. So that was the off that horizontal level. We're hit it once, stalled, hit it twice, and then stalled. Now, if we look back across JPY, so let's have a quick look across JPY, other currency pairs. So I'm gonna get off this one for a little bit. So USD JPY, and we can see here that JPY is getting stronger. Okay, so we have GBP JPY. We can see here that JPY is getting stronger, but we have a little bit of GBP strength over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days with GBP getting stronger. Now, is that JPY weakness or is that GBP strength? So Aussie JPY. Again, we have JPY strength, but look, over the last month, we've actually had a little bit of Aussie strength. So we've had a little bit of Aussie strength again. CAD JPY, we've had JPY strength, but again, we've had a little bit of CAD. So we'll say CAD strength. We've had 1 day of CAD strength, and then it's just moved sideways. Okay. NZD JPY. And again, look, we've had overall CAD JPY strength, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we've had JPY strength. So there's one of 2 things happening here. We have JPY is overall one of the strongest currencies in the market at the minute, but we have had weakness over the last 6 days. Now, that weakness over the last 5 or 6 days, is that just a phase 2 like we have here? So phase 1, phase 2, phase 1 and a phase 2, or is this JPY weakness across the board? So that's something we have to work out, and that's something we have to sort of look at. Now, if it's coming back into key levels, we only ever look at it as a reversal, as an area where we expect it to continue with its overall momentum. If it makes higher highs, that's where we start questioning, is this now a change of direction, and is JPY getting weaker? So on this one, we haven't got a higher high. So this one still is within the trend. CHF JPY, look, again, it's still within the trend. CAD JPY, it still has a lower high, so it still meets the criteria. Aussie JPY has made a higher high. So that one has made higher. So it looks like Aussie is a little bit stronger than JPY. GBP JPY, look, is still a lower low. And lastly, USD JPY. And look, it's a double top, so it's level. So out of all those so far, and then onto the EURJPY, the one that we're looking at, and it's still a lower low. So out of all the currency pairs so far, out of the 7 currency pairs, there's one of them has made a higher high, and then the rest of them are continuing with the trend. So with that being said, it looks like, so remember JPY was one of the strongest currencies, it looks like Aussie is probably the next strongest, looking at that sort of, how would I call it, a little snapshot. You would expect then Aussie to be one of the stronger currencies in the market over the last 7 days. And JPY, yes, it has been a little bit weaker across all currencies, but it is coming back into phase 2 areas where we expect the market to continue going in that overall direction. So that's something I've just sort of looked at, and it's given me the indication that this trade is still valid. Now, this trade has now hit our stop loss. So it has stopped us out. So it's our entry and then our stop loss. Now, we never got triggered in here. So that trade was still pending this morning. So I canceled that trade this morning. So look, what happens here is we never got triggered in. It went up and then we got stopped out. Okay. So if we don't get triggered in on the trade, it means that it cost us no money. So remember, I'm only ever looking to get in at this entry point, so a little bit lower. I understand this is only a visual representation, so they're a little bit lower than that bar, and then the stop loss is here. So it never got triggered in this particular trade, so which means then it cost us nothing. So just imagine you risked 100 quid here between the stop loss and the entry, and it continued going up and it hit your stop loss. It means that your analysis was wrong, but it costs you no money being wrong. Okay, so that's why I'm always ever get triggered in at the beginning of the phase 1. So that's the phase 2. Now, what we have is we have another level that has presented itself. So we have another opportunity in this particular trade. So I don't know whether everyone can see this. We have a ceiling here once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and now this is the 6th touch. Yes, it broke the level here, and then it completely changed direction and carried on with the same momentum. Now, we can't really ignore this. We can't ignore it, but we take it into consideration. Now, first part is this early or late in this trend? And the overall trend, this is late. So if we go up onto the higher time frame and look at it on the weekly chart, so look, we're pretty late in this overall trend, aren't we? We're pretty late in this overall trend. So as we can see on the weekly chart, the trend changed up here and we have huge momentum to the downside. So we have now, if we look at this, we have the phase 1, phase 2, phase 1, down to here, and then we have a phase 2. So we are in a weekly phase 2 at the moment. And we should never really be placing a trade on a smaller time frame when the weekly is in phase 2, because it's trying to predict when that market is going to turn. Now, as we can see, we've already tried to predict this once and we were wrong. We never got triggered in because it was a pending order. So now we have a second opportunity. But again, this is a phase 2. Now on the weekly, we only need 2 bars going back, whereas on the daily, we need 3 bars going backwards. So there's 1 bar, this one gets higher. So this is a phase 2 on the weekly chart. Down onto the daily, we do have a trend line going on here. So we do have 5 touches on this trend line. This does look like a decent enough trade. And then we look at the price action. Okay, so today's price action cannot be taken into consideration because it is not finished. But just imagine in around 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight, when the other markets haven't really moved, there is a potential trade if the bar stays like this. If this bar stays as a doji, if it stays as a bearish bar, yes, then there is a potential trade in this. If this bar goes up and breaks this trend line and finishes at a higher high, then there's no trade to be taken. So just imagine the bar is about to close, it's closing time, and this is what the bar looks like. This would be our new entry on this. So entry slightly below the bar and stop loss slightly above the bar. Again, we are talking about hypotheticals here, and we are looking at a market that the bar hasn't finished. Yes, the bar has still another 10 or 11 hours to go, so there's just we can't take that into consideration right now, but we're talking hypotheticals here. If that bar finishes like that today, there is a potential short. If it breaks this trend line, there is not. Okay, so that's something just to be aware of. Now, we talked a little bit about gold and silver and what we expected to happen on the likes of these. We still have our silver trade running at the moment. Silver went up to about 1.5 to 1. Yeah, 1.49, well, 1.46 to 1. I understand we were looking for a 3 to 1 on it. I'm just going to pop that back there. It's still in a little bit of profit, so if you risked 100 quid here, you're probably up about 20 to 30 quid in this particular trade. So this trade has sort of started moving sideways since our entry point. So we had one bullish day and then it's moved sideways since, which is massively frustrating. But we drop down onto gold. Now gold has been trending much better, as in it was sideways here and then it took off. So what seems to happen with them is gold moves sideways, silver takes off at this point, and then when gold is taken off, silver moves sideways. So it looks like there are people are watching both assets and then trading whichever asset is giving the best opportunity or which one is trending the most. So that's what seems to be happening at the present moment. We would expect silver to take off. Why? Because gold has been making higher highs and it follows suit there. So we would expect gold to continue, silver to actually pop to the upside. It's a matter of when. Now we do have a horizontal level here at the 1875.12 level. So we do have that level there, and it seems to be going quite well. And at that level, we've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. So we might, and then 6 here. We might get some sort of rejection at that sort of level, but again, we will wait and see. And that's what we're looking for. We have had no opportunity to get in here since the 23rd of December. It's just continued to go. That was a 1 bar pullback, and that's where that level come from. So I'm assuming not many people got in on that. It was a 1 bar pullback. You'd have to take it on the smaller time frame. And if you took it on a smaller time frame, then well done, great trade. But I can't imagine many people did. So we had this ascending wedge channel shape, and then it broke out of this wedge. So we needed to pull back to that horizontal. So if I just use this level, that's where I wanted to come back to. I wanted to come back to there. And if it comes back to there, that's where I'm looking to get in on this. That's the entry point there. Let's have a quick look at the indices. So we had a really nice bounce off this horizontal level. I wasn't expecting this level to bounce. We've had 1, 2, 3. This bounce here wasn't very big, and it came back a second time. It was a double bottom or a quadruple bottom here off the 4 bounces, and then we actually had 2 pretty big bars over the last 2 days. Yes, we have a big huge wick on the top of this, but again, it looks like there are some buying pressure in the market at the moment, and the back of some decent jobs data, the economical restraints has been slightly better over the last week, but again, it's very subjective how you're reading the market. We did have a bounce off this one, and we took it short on the 4 hour. Look, it went up and hit that very same level and then had a rejection. Now today's bar is inside it. Today's bar hasn't even opened yet. This is the futures market, so stay away from it. Don't get involved in that. That is the futures market. It's not going to help us. so don't even look at it. So at this present moment, for me, there is no trades long or short on this. Stay away from it. Let it go up and retest here, and that's where our next entry would be. So a break and retest of this level, or comes down, breaks and retests this, and then we're shorting it. But for me, it's in this no man's land that I'm not looking to get involved.